Across Australia, as is the case in other countries with long democratic traditions like the US, the UK and France, confidence in democratic institutions is in decline. A recent Gallup poll report shows worrying trends when it comes to our satisfaction with government, institutions and the economy. Australia polls second highest in the world when it comes to the percentage of adults who say that affording basics of food and shelter is the biggest problem facing the country. In a country as rich as Australia, a whopping 29% of us are effectively saying that poverty is our country's biggest issue. 75% of us are dissatisfied with the availability of affordable housing, equal first in the world in terms of our levels of discontent. Younger people in particular are despairing, with 17% more young people angsting over their basic material needs than older people. Is it any wonder that people in Australia are fed up with governments and disengaging with democracy? Greg Jericho wrote an excellent piece in The Guardian today about, among other things, the lack of media outrage about the NDIS budget cuts. And it made me think more broadly and about the frankly overwhelming numbers of people who contact my office looking for help after being failed by one or more systems that the New South Wales government is responsible for. Whether it's the people who tell me of failures in the family court system, putting children in harm's way, people who complain of being misidentified or left unprotected in domestic and family violence matters, people who are denied access to emergency accommodation because of unfathomable bureaucratic errors, or the countless people experiencing real trauma at the hands of the broken workers' compensation system. And of course, all the people trying to get just a scrap of support in the face of an NDIS system stacked against them. Story after story of people coming up against a system that looks to all the world like it has been actively designed to deny them justice, support, or outcomes. And this negative experience is often the first and most significant encounter that many people have with a core part of government machinery, their first time asking for help from the official face of society. The resulting confusion, frustration, anger and depression experienced at the hands of the system leaves deep cuts across our collective faith in so-called democratic institutions. And if you can't get basic medical care, if you can't get justice for obvious wrongdoings, if you and your family don't get the protection that you reasonably expected, when the structures and institutions and processes in our society well and truly fail you or the people you know and love, why on earth would you care if it all came crashing to the ground? And why wouldn't you be tempted to embrace populist right movements that portray themselves as fundamentally different, as the opposite of the establishment, the status quo that is wreaking so much damage? But in the face of increasingly broken government systems, the major parties are doubling down and punishing the most vulnerable people in our society, exacerbating discontent and pushing people further away. Most recently, the federal Labor government has taken a sledgehammer to the entitlements of 160,000 disabled people, rather than actually deal with the systemic issues caused by a marketised approach to disability services and the failure to rein in fraud by bad faith actors. And their budget decisions reveal their real priorities. Their tough decisions only go one way, tough on the most vulnerable and usually the poorest people, while giving an easy ride to big corporates and the ultra-wealthy. The federal government could have raised a whopping $17 billion a year from a tax on gas exports, one of the most popular revenue-raising measures ever polled, but instead they've chosen to rip away vital supports from the disability community in order to save a quick buck. In a world feeling increasingly unfair and unjust, with more people in our country than ever before unable to make ends meet, Labor has embarked on a politics marked by cruelty. Again, just as we saw New South Wales Labor do with its cuts to workers' compensation, federal Labor has worked with the media to demonise individuals reliant on the NDIS, to manufacture consent for brutal cuts that will see people genuinely in need of support having their lifelines ripped away from them. While bleating about social cohesion when it suits their political strategy, they're happily putting the boot in to those they're denying support to, encouraging society to turn on them before